He danced a lot at Minnesota, turned that program around, and no longer coaching. He's the associate AD at Kansas State. But Jerry Kill has a new book out called Chasing Dreams, and he joins us from our Minneapolis studio now. Jerry, why write this book?
Well, I think it's a deal. Jim Bruton was the guy that wanted me to start writing a book about 2 or 3 years ago, and I just said, I just don't have the time. And when things kind of went south, as I said, I went into rehab and went to Florida, and he wanted to write the book, so I put my headsets on and walked the beach, and he asked me questions and I'd answer them, and we just went from there. And also it was important to me. I wanted to find a way that we could raise money for our Epilepsy Foundation and Cancer Fund, and it's really paid off. We've already, tomorrow, I think we're going to be around $200,000 raised for epilepsy, and then in Southern Illinois we're going to be somewhere around $100,000. So it's just starting off with the book, and all the proceeds go to those foundations. So I'm excited about it, and it tells, the book covers a lot of different things, and hopefully some people will get some use out of it.
One of the things it talks about in depth is your coaching career, and more specifically your staff. You kept a good amount of the nucleus of your staff with you year in and year out, job in and job out. How was that possible?
Well, I think, we all came up at, the lower levels, and we worked our way up. And instead of going out and hiring a guy that was a Division I coach, I just brought our guys with me. I always figured that we wouldn't win without our staff, and so we were loyal to each other, and it's kind of unusual in college football, but we all kind of grew up together, and kind of all finished together, and still a good portion are here. So it's family, really, and I think that's what I miss the most is the family. They were my family for many, many years.
You write about Minnesota offering you the head coaching job when you were in a Chicago airport. They wanted an answer that night, and you surveyed your family, and they all said no. So what happened? Why did you say yes?
Well, I always like challenges. I told my wife, we're going to be married to this one if we take this, and it's a tough job. But, I wanted to have the opportunity to see if I could do it at the highest level. And, I really didn't know that much about Minnesota except with what Joel shared with me, and, and you looked on the internet. But, I think they knew we had a good thing going at Northern Illinois. We had a great football team there, and I think that proved out after I left. And, and I could have probably coached there as long as I wanted to and had the comfort zone, but I've never lived in the comfort zone. I've always wanted to achieve more and keep moving forward. So that's why I came to Minnesota, and it worked out. I don't regret anything, and it's been a lot of fun, and now it's good to turn it over to Tracy Claeys and let him carry the torch, so to speak.
You say in the book when you got there, the toughest thing to change about the culture at Minnesota was, quote, everything. How so?
Well, it was so negative when we got here, from everything from the fans to, our players, administration. We're never going to win. Nobody's ever going to get this thing turned around. What makes you think you can do it? It was just a culture that had been frustrated for many years. So I knew it was going to take time, and I was very honest about that. I figured that year 6 and 7 would be our best opportunities to be successful. We got some opportunities earlier and had good success that they haven't had for 50 years. However, I still think our best years are to come, and I think we're under great leadership with Tracy and the staff, and I look forward to watching the progress of the program.
We know how hard you've battled epilepsy. In your book, you say you never told your coaches what they should do if you were to have a seizure. How come?
I really, to be honest with you, number one, I wouldn't know what to tell them. I knew my wife was there, and it's just something that it was hard to talk about. And as I grow and I'm doing the foundation stuff, as I found out more and more people, there's some pro athletes that I've talked to. I've had some call me, people that are head of corporations that have epilepsy, but they don't want to let anybody know because they're afraid they'll lose their jobs, or they'll get labeled as a, somebody that's really different. And epilepsy just comes off as a bad word, so to speak. And so there's a lot of people just don't want to come out about it, but they'll call and ask me why I did it, and so forth. But it took me a while. I never even called it epilepsy. Most of the time I said I had seizures, and I just didn't. I personally didn't want to deal with it either.
You have a chapter called I Fired Myself, where you explain why you left Minnesota. What was it that made you finally decide that was the right time?
Well, I was laying on the couch for 2 straight days in the off week, and I had 2 or 3 seizures, and so my wife was sitting in a chair one night, and I woke up and kind of came out of it, and she'd been sitting there all night, and then I go to bed the next night, and she'd stay up, and she wouldn't even sleep because she's afraid that maybe I'd stop breathing or hit my head on something. And I go, this can't go on. And I was tired, but I said I can get over the hump. And then I made some phone calls. I was struggling, and I talked to Bobby Ross, who I knew from way back when I was at Saginaw Valley State. I talked to the priest here at Minnesota and visited with him, and a guy named Carl Mock, who'd been very close to, and I knew they wouldn't say anything. And I just, I didn't feel like I was doing the program justice. I can only coach one way, and that's full speed. And I didn't have the energy that I felt that I needed to give to the players. And I wasn't going to cheat the school. I wasn't going to cheat the players. I walked away from a lot of money, but I've never been in it for all that. I was in it for the game. And, I promised my dad a long time ago that he told me never cheat anybody that employs you. And I felt I was cheating the University of Minnesota. And so, I stepped away, and I did do it to myself. There was some situations, I went through ADs and through Norwood's situation. We were still eating in the hallway, and I pushed and I pressed some people probably too hard, but hey, we're building a new facility, and you all helped us. Jerry helped us, but I put on the full court press, and I wasn't sleeping, and I had to do what I had to do. And I hope someday they'll come back and say they'll understand me a little bit as far as administration is concerned. But I'm here right now, and the progress of the new facility is going, and to me, that was the next brick to get Minnesota over the hump in recruiting. So I'm excited for the Gophers' future, but I know I did the right thing. Is it killing me right now? You bet. But at the end of the day, you always got to do what's best for the university in Minnesota, and I did what was best. It was time for new leadership, and I gave everything I had. I had nothing left, and so that's where I fired myself. I never fired anybody in my coaching career, but I did fire myself.
You mentioned it's killing you to not coach. So before I let you go, will you ever coach again?
I'll never be a head coach. It's not in the cards with my situation. But Coach Snyder's been great to me at K-State. K-State has taken me in, and I'm at practice every day, and I'm around the players, and I'm the administrator over football. But we all know Coach Snyder's the administrator over football, and but I think we're a good team, and I'm experiencing a lot of new things. But I'm still around football. Would maybe someday, if I continue another path here in the next couple of years, maybe be assistant, maybe. Maybe I'll be in administration. That's really what this year's all about, really, to me, is staying healthy and seeing what the next direction is for me. And if it's staying at K-State in my role for the next 5, 6, 7 years, that'd be great. If something else, I feel better and I feel like I need to do something else, then I will. But right now, I'm enjoying myself, and K-State's been a great experience. I wish I worked it under Bill, maybe a couple years before I became a head coach, because I've learned a whole lot from him in just a short time being there.
The book is called Chasing Dreams. Jerry Kill, here's to good health for you personally, and best of luck with the book as well.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.